going on, everybody? This is Sean of Raw Select Music. Today I want to talk about this record right here. This is Phonte's No News is Good News, released on the Foreign Exchange record label back in 2018. This was definitely one of the records in 2018 that came out at the beginning of the year that I really wanted to get my hands on, but was unable to, largely because it wasn't available on vinyl for the longest time. And also it didn't make its way to Japan until the beginning of this year, or the end of last year. Don't exactly remember. So I was really excited to get my hands on this. I'm a big fan of Phonte. I love all the collaborations that he's on. And although I'm not all that knowledgeable about Little Brother, I've always appreciated his work from afar and have always honestly just liked pretty much everything that Phonte's ever attached his name to. So I was pretty hyped to hear his first solo album in a while. And now that I've given it quite a few listens, I want to share my thoughts and opinions of this record with you guys. Let you know whether or not I think it's worth checking out. So that little introduction out of the way, let's get into this guy. For those of you who are unfamiliar with who Phonte is, I'd be kind of surprised if you didn't know who he was. Man's been featured on so many different tracks. He's also probably most known for his collaborative work with, he's probably most known for his, God damn it. Oh, no, I have my phone. He's probably most known for his collaborative work with Ninth Wonder and Big Pooh as the group Little Brother. But from there, he moved on to another project working with a electronic music producer by the name of Nikolai. And together they've been working on a project called The Foreign Exchange, which has been really hit and miss with me. There are some elements of that project that I really like. Largely it's due to Phonte's just amazing vocal presence, which I'll get into more when I start talking about this record. And I've just never really been a huge fan of Nikolai, whichever one, production all that much. However, that didn't stop me from wanting to check out this record right here, because I've always liked Phonte as both a rapper and a singer. When he sings, he's extremely soulful and heartfelt. When he raps, he's catchy, insightful, clever, humorous, funny. There's so many adjectives that I can use when I'm describing Phonte as a rapper, because he's just that good. And one thing that I've always really liked about Phonte's rapping style is that even when he's being really technical, I've always found that Phonte somehow manages to make all of his lines extremely memorable. It's not just the technicality, he's always trying to work in some almost stand-up comedian like punchlines into his verses, and I think he really does a great job of that, and that sort of presence shows up on here. But I think the main difference between some of his previous work and this album is this really seems like Phonte at his most reflective. I would go as far as to say this is Phonte's existential crisis album. A lot of the lyrics talk about a lot of the things that I think, and I'm projecting a little bit here, people start thinking about as they get older. Things like health, medication, what am I doing, setting different priorities in your life. It really just shows that there seems to be a large amount of uncertainty in Phonte's life at the moment, and he's still trying to figure it out. This is not one of those albums of preachiness. It's more of an album that's pretty easy to relate through with all the different topics that he talks about on here. And while that may sound like it makes for a pretty dour listen, it's not really that much. Sure, the album's a bit somber, a little bit reflective, wistful, and just overall slightly melancholic. It never feels so overbearing that it becomes like an emo rap record, although there are emotive tones on this. From the get-go, the record actually starts off on a pretty typical braggadocio note with Tigolo to the Rescue and So Help Me God, where it shows Phonte at his most braggadocious and definitely still manages to get in some amazing punchlines. I really like So Help Me God. But as the album progresses, it really seems like it starts going into more soul-searching mode, and it becomes a far more reflective record as it goes through tracks like Pastor Tigolo, Expensive Jeans, and my personal favorite track on here, Cry No More, which features production from Illingsworth. And the production on that track is a highlight in and of itself, with some really strong jazz tones that are really reflective and really emotional, and it really helps with the theme of the track, where Phonte seems to be talking about some of his feelings about where he is in life and how he relates to his parents. It's really one of the more touching tracks on here, and Phonte does it absolutely absolutely perfectly. Another late highlight track on the album for me is the track Sweet You, produced by Tall Black Guy. One, because Tall Black Guy is an amazing producer, and his sampling of Foreign Exchange's own music for the basis of his track is just a phenomenal touch on what is already a phenomenal track, as well as Phonte's awesome lyrics on this track. It's almost like a rap quiet storm burner, and I really like that track. And the other real late album highlight that I like is his collaboration with a frequent collaborator of his, Eric Robertson. Yeah, Eric Robertson. Almost screwed that up. Eric Robertson really brings it home with a big, beautiful chorus, and Phonte hits the track with some really nice verses on it. And like I said, consistent with the rest of the album, a lot of sort of emotive, reflective vocals on here. And that's pretty much consistent throughout the record. And honestly, I gotta say, Phonte is consistent throughout this record. He's insightful, interesting, knows when to get in a memorable line and hook every now and then. My honest to God only complaint with this record is I feel like the production isn't nearly as interesting in a lot of cases. Tracks like Pastor Tigolo, the track honestly just doesn't really do anything for me. It seems like it's sort of going for this gospel-y feel to it, but it just feels, since it's going for that sort of gospel-y feel, it just doesn't have the light that I feel like it should. Another track, Expensive Jeans, which I really love lyrically, but it's just way too short, and the instrumental in and of itself is sort of not all that memorable. And then I also gotta say, out of all the features on here, Freddie Gibbs is really out of place on the Change of Mind track, where it seems like Phonte is really pouring his heart and soul into his lyrics and with his vocal performance, and Freddie Gibbs, well, pretty much does what Freddie Gibbs does, and it just really doesn't suit the track at all. But these minor little complaints aside, this is an album that I still recommend that you check out if you're looking for some more thoughtful and more grown-up hip-hop out there. I think Phonte nails it perfectly. This is a record that I kind of wish that I had heard in 2018, because it probably would have made it onto my best of the year list. I really like this album, and I know I'm really late on this review, but if you're just checking this out now and you're still wondering about Phonte's No News is Good News album, definitely give this a listen, because this record comes highly recommended from me. So that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching. If you've checked this record out, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. And if you want to hear it for yourself, please head over to my WordPress or Steemit blogs, because that's where I post music links to any of the records that I talk about on this channel. As always, if you want to hear a wider scope of some of the other music that I'm into, as well as some of the records that I talk about on this channel, please head over to my Mixcloud page, because that's where I post Raw Select Radio, which is basically the audio component radio show podcast for this Raw Select brand. Links for everything down in the description. But that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thanks as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. So until then, peace out!